Carry Optics, the most popular division in IDPA. Join us as we discuss why on this episode of Can We Chat? This podcast was made possible by our sponsors, FT3, Orange County's premier indoor shooting range, and Pinnacle Firearms Training, CCW, Fundamentals, and Advanced Gun Handling. Live defensively minded. What's going on? My name is Paul G., Chief Safety Officer for the IDPA. This channel will help you clarify IDPA rules, shooting techniques, and inform you of the newest gear and what's going on in the shooting community. If you're new here, consider subscribing. Please welcome back to the podcast my better half, the Viking.
What's
Good morning.
Up, Good morning.
What's going on? It's been a long time since...
beautiful day in Southern California.
Ooh, it's chilly, huh?
It's a bit chilly outside. Luckily, you had the heater going before I got here, so you got to take the sweatshirt off and be a little more cozy.
Wow, I mean, did we luck out by not shooting Sunday, or?
I'm thinking so, because I was looking out the window. I ended up working yesterday because we have a couple people out sick, so I ended up working yesterday being that we didn't shoot the match, so... I looked out the window a couple times, and it was torrential downpour for a little bit. So
wait, LAX is open on Sunday?
7 days a week.
You're kidding me, really?
You know, the people need the ammo. We just got to do our part.
Apparently.
Freedom seeds are not always free, but they're always available.
That's right. That's right. So what are we shooting these days? You went back to your staccato, right?
I went back to staccato. Jumped back up to ESP, prepping for the Western. You know, love that match.
Yeah.
Hopefully see about trying to do a little match bump and come master in ESP.
Both of us are shooting the same division.
And it's going to be another dogfight or what?
Well, you know, I sat there, I'm like, maybe I'll just go CCP. I'm like, well, I can't be, scared about anything, right? You just got to go and do that, right?
Just got to do it and have a great time doing it.
I just got, that's what I chose to do. And, whatever comes with it, comes with it.
You know, it's going to be a great time no matter what. It always is.
Well, says you right now.
Hey, you know what? That's the beauty about it is, when you go out against and with great people,
I appreciate
you
that.
rise to the
Thank
occasion.
You.
And hopefully everything works out either way for either of us.
Well, I sit there like, oh, great. So he's going. So that's my competition right there. So
likewise, I look at you and going, oh, great. Paul's gone. So now I really need to step my game up or else I'll never hear the end of it.
So after so that's May. You considering doing anything else after May? Are you going to maybe a different division or?
Well, we did talk about doing some carry optics.
Yeah.
And I actually have not shot one competitively yet. So there's...
so that's a good and bad thing.
Yeah, it really has. As far as not trying it yet, is not getting a taste of that and then kind of going back and going, oh, great, I want to do this now. So, which I know so many people do.
So from experience, going from iron sights to optics, I had a hard time. Actually, I had to get coaching and doing eye training and so forth. But now they have VRs, right?
Yeah,
so,
which I love. So what's funny is, without actually dealing with the VR, I am. The downfall is I let a buddy use it, and now it's being a struggle to get back because he's in love with it so much. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll show up tomorrow. I'm bringing by tomorrow. Oh, I'll bring it by tomorrow. And finally, I'm like, did I actually lose my VR set or not? So it's very interesting. And what's funny is preparing for some of the matches, like the Vegas match that we ended up shooting, the Silver State Classic with Chad and all them. Yeah. I was actually shooting 365 with iron sights in VR, but since then I've been actually switched to a staccato on the VR set with the optic on it. So I've been kind of practicing for optic for a later range, and then kind of using the fit and feel of it just for transitioning. But
so you say that your brain is wired to optics now? You think?
It's getting there, getting much closer.
I know that transition was the most difficult for me. So, my learning curve was that much longer. But I think your learning curve is definitely going to be. I
think it's going to be shortened. Obviously, there's going to be a pretty steep learning curve. Yeah. Not shooting one in actuality in competition use. Have I shot optics quite often? Yeah. Yeah. But just never competitively.
Right.
So it's a whole different realm when it comes to that.
So the popularity of this as a division in IDPA is just it's exploding,
skyrocketing.
Right. So matter of fact, the last match that we had, it's just a local match, right? 39% was actually shooting carry optics.
Yeah, it's shocking. And you would think that that's just carry optics. So the guys that are shooting carry optics currently are shooting ESP guns with an optic. Imagine how popular it would be as if you actually did carry optics in all the different divisions.
Right. So the 13 of the top 20 guys were just carry optics that placed, right? Top 4 out of the whole overall they were all carry optics, right? Yeah. And then accuracy was the top 5, right? So I mean, just in the numbers itself, right?
The numbers speak for itself. And look at even police departments and law enforcement agencies across the U.S. They're all switching over to carry optics.
Right.
Most of the guys that are not doing that are guys on their later side of their career and don't want to face that learning curve. They want to stick to what they're doing. And, I've spoken to a lot of officers that are doing that, hey, I only got a handful of years left. I'm not going to learn something else for the rest of my career when, I'm so short at the end of it. And I kind of tell them, hey, you know what? With the age and eyesight, it might be worth it if you actually want to put a little bit of time into it. So not pushing them that way, but it's an individual choice.
So here's a personal question. So why the hell have we been shooting like CCP and bug?
Because we like the challenge, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it was your harebrained idea. I just followed along with it. I couldn't.
How's it my? What?
Because you're always like, hey, what do you think about this? And I say, I know exactly where this one's going. We're going to end up doing this. Then there's a couple $1,000s worth of equipment, gear, testing, riding around doing this, that, and going, oh, great, what do I do with this now? And then hours and hours and hours of wakeless nights. And
going from optics back to iron sights was probably the most brutal thing for me.
I was going to say, struggle with that and still struggling maybe a little.
So this brings to a good point. Advantages and disadvantages of an optic versus iron sights, and this is one of the reasons why I went back and forth. And you don't always have like batteries and stuff like that, and so those are the disadvantages of optics.
And those small little disadvantages, but that also goes into maintenance of your firearm.
Yeah.
That's when you have an optic. That's part of your general maintenance.
You're preaching to the wrong.
Well, yeah, Mr. Sandpaper 80 grit.
If it works, right?
Oh, it'll work for a second.
Okay, all right, that's a good point. Good point. But from optics, though, the advantage is obviously it's easier to shoot. It's more accurate.
Yeah,
by far.
By far. There's a couple fold. I think at a very short distance, anywhere from the 3 to, depending on shooter ability, 7 yards, when you're shooting something like an ESP gun or a carry optic, I think it's very negligible.
Right.
I think transitions at that distance are much easier, much faster.
Because you only have one sight.
Yeah, you're looking at your target focus the entire time rather than doing the quick target iron sight, getting at least a flash sight picture.
Right.
At distance, it's not even a comparison.
Especially
transitioning at that distance, it's bar none, no comparison.
Right. And then low light situations, now you have a dot.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of sights.
So as long as you're not using a white light to where you're washing out your dot and you have your dot set up properly, which I've done that the first time I shot a optic at night. I had my Surefire X300 on my pistol, and the dot was bright as hell. On when you're in a lower light situation, just kind of giving a quick check to make sure everything's right. And all of a sudden, you light up the target, and you're like, there's no dot there anymore. So you just punch out, use the window, put it in the center of the chest, and squeeze a couple rounds off.
So, do you chicken before the egg? How do you purchase a gun with an optic? Do you buy the optic first? An optic, because obviously you have to get an optic that fits a gun, right? Or do you
within reason. So for me, obviously, the firearm's the most important part.
Okay,
in my opinion.
So just get a gun that fits to you.
That you like, because most likely for the vast majority of firearms, you can either get it milled
Right.
or run a gun that already has an optic now, or optic accessibility with a plate system or something that's already pre-cut.
Okay.
Aftermarket is another great area to where if you have a gun that has a larger aftermarket following, most of the time you can get a slide that is cut for an optic.
Okay. So picking a gun, we'll just go with obviously you have to get a gun for a reason.
Yeah.
So that would probably be the first thing
yeah,
you want
so
to
I mean,
yourself,
just
right?
like at that aspect, currently IDP doesn't have, divisions for smaller guns with optics on it, but an optic is an optic. You could put an optic on anything, and now you carry optics.
So when you buy a gun, you're looking for mounting capabilities,
Yeah.
or
I mean, for me personally, the way I would end up running it would be find the gun that you like and you choose, that you shoot the best, that you are actually comfortable with. You like the fit, form, and function.
Okay.
The safety features of it, everything else. At that point in time, now that you've found the gun that you like, see if they actually do have a optics ready option.
Okay. Oh, on the slide. So
Yes.
you get an optic ready slide.
Yeah, just like a prime example, like a 365. You could get a slide that is not optics ready and get some of the slides that are optics ready.
The California options, they actually have a plate.
They actually do have.
You can go ahead and remove it and take your. Okay.
So now at that point, what I would do is, all right, if they do have an optics option, definitely go with that, because you could put a plate on it so you can never run an optic at all, or you pull the plate off, mount an optic to it. Now, depending on what system the firearm manufacturer is running, will determine what footprint the optic is actually on.
Okay, so you take the plate to the block off plate first.
Correct.
Then you put another plate on it, depending on what
depending
optic.
on optic, or a lot of those options are actually a direct mount. So prime example would be like the 365, since we're already kind of going down that hole.
Right.
They are cut for a K-style footprint, so 507K, 407K, EPS carry, a couple other smaller optic options.
Okay.
The Romeo 2, I believe it is.
Okay.
So you could actually take that optic and mount it directly to the slide without any kind of modification or any adapter plate. There's other companies like CH Precision and a handful of others that will actually make an adapter plate to where you can mount that plate onto the slide and then run other optics off of that.
So what I've learned, that the lower the optic, the easier it is, or the more true. Then you don't have to be.
And then the mechanical offset.
Okay, so no mechanical changes.
Yeah,
and so forth.
so it won't have as big of a mechanical offset. Obviously, if you're center bore your pistol's here, and then you have your optic mounted here, then you might have a little issue there.
At certain distances, a mechanical offset is where you aim, and versus where the bullet will strike. So if you're aiming at somebody's forehead, it
might hit their big toe with a large mechanical offset.
That's not always a good thing.
No,
all right,
probably not.
So you go from there. You get the optic. So there's different types of offset.
Yeah, definitely different types of optics. There, right? There's many different options. So definitely go with a reputable brand. My theory is with optics and pistols and gear in general, buy once, cry once. Budget allowing, if you need to, save up a couple extra bucks, push it off down the road a little bit, and get the best optic within your budget.
So it's an investment.
It's an investment.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
they're not cheap then.
No, they're definitely not cheap. They're about the same price of the gun.
So the SRO was just coming out when I purchased mine, and so I totally know.
Which I am devastated that they discontinued the SRO. I actually really love that optic.
No, really?
They replaced it with the RCR HD.
So they have the RMR, right? Type 2, which is the most popular now.
It's the most popular. It's a smaller original, but a different, updated version of the original RMR.
I can't believe they stopped the SRO.
Yeah, it's kind of knocked the wind out of my sails.
Were they having problems with it, or
not necessarily they're having problems? They did the HD, which is a closed emitter, kind of shaped like the SRO, but just more of a squared off version.
Okay.
I believe it has an auto dimming sensor on the front of it, so it kind of picks up ambient light and adjusts your dot. So I think they're kind of moving that way, which I see the pros and cons. I personally like seeing that nice big round window and being that our targets are nice round in the center.
So my eyesight's not always the best thing, and besides that, I get like nauseous or dizzy when I look at certain things. But if it's really small, right, I can't see the thing. And that's why one of the reasons why I purchased the SRO was the huge play screen thing, right?
Nice big window.
Oh, and it is, right? Yeah. So especially when you're reloading.
Oh yeah, nice big grab handle there.
Oh man, I did not know that. That's horrible. Yeah. So one of our dear friends, Joe Bodden, right? He actually, because he's in Washington and he's one of the usual match directors out there, he started pushing toward a subdivision. Right, so he actually stuck. Well, this was his carry gun, right? So he had a bug gun, the 365 it was, and he used the micro on it, right? So he's shooting a bug optic, right? But he's using bug rules, so 6 rounds.
That's impressive,
right? And in matter of fact, he actually has a video out, and it was a discussion on the shooting bug in IDPA.
I hope they actually, like I said earlier, I hope they actually do. I think it would be great for the sport.
Well, the carry optic division is so large now, right? Yeah. So why?
I think it will definitely drive more people. The caveat to that is, if we do that different division, playing devil's advocate, are we going to have so many people go to carry optics and not have anybody shoot iron sights anymore?
So, the sheepdog, right, is all CCP guns. So they had like 200 shooters, right? 210 or 205, and they were all CCP guns. So this wouldn't be too far off, right?
No, I mean I can see it. That's obviously a big match and dedicated to that one division. I'm thinking more like on local matches or maybe a tier 2, tier 3 match that you have 100 competitors, 150 competitors. Are we going to see like now it's 80% carry optics and then now we have 20% iron sights within those different divisions? Are we going to see that kind of shift, you think, if maybe we have, carry optic division, iron sight division, then divisions within that?
Well, I mean,
do you think we'll be spread too thin if we end up doing that way?
Performance-wise?
No, as far as like just overall.
No, I see where totally. I see where you're going with that. But if you, bring it back to what we were originally talking about. Is it useful to have optics versus iron sights, right?
Oh, it absolutely is.
And you would see that so we did I did a community poll, right? And 65% actually, that's what they're looking at is carry optics, right? Yeah. So to answer your question, I definitely see something like that happening in the near future, right?
Do you think it's good for the sport or bad for the sport, on your opinion?
Oh man, now you're talking about something totally different, right? Yeah, I don't know.
We're having a discussion. Might as well go down this rabbit hole and kind of see your thoughts, because I see both sides of the coin.
Right.
Is now if the sport decides to go that route.
Yeah.
Are we going to see like, just the old timers or the guys that are like wanting to shoot like a specialty division, just shooting iron sight, and, all the young bucks that want to tech out their guns, going for it and doing carry optics. And then it also goes into the eyesight, being faster.
Well, so before I answer that question, let me ask you this. How fast is fast for you as far as shooting?
Never fast enough.
Yep. Okay. And all the young bucks, that's exactly how it is, right? You used to race motorcycles as well, right? I started at the 125 class, right? And that was just never enough for me.
I just went right for it and went leader bikes.
Okay. Good. Let's just kill myself, right?
But do it.
Guns are the same thing, right?
They are. But for me, it's also knowing that having fun with different divisions, doing something else that you haven't tried.
So that is what's stopping, I would have to say. So to answer your question, I think it's just there are just too many people with different values and different interests, right? And I think the iron sights has always a place in defensive shooting, only because of the practicality, right?
Yeah.
But
and you can't dot every gun you own.
Yeah, that's true, right? Which
that'd be a very expensive endeavor.
But I mean, what guns can you actually stick? Obviously, the larger guns you can stick an optic of, right?
So I mean, even the smaller guns like the bug guns, you could put a K footprint. So like the EPS carry that's on the Legion,
right?
You could actually, depending on the 1911, you could probably direct mount a K footprint on 1911 without running a plate and doing an RMR or an SRO like yourself.
I know that the bug guns as well as the CCP guns are very popular as far as appendix draw, right? So it's just comfortable and it's smaller than the larger ones.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is definitely you can definitely see the trend going that direction. Right?
It's a huge trend. And if you would have looked maybe 8-10 years ago, would you have thought about this trend? Yeah, you probably go, oh, it's kind of cool, but do they actually hold up? And I think that's what took law enforcement so long to actually start testing them and actually getting some of these things approved.
Right.
The first kind of versions weren't that great. They weren't very reliable. Now they are extremely reliable.
Yeah, they're off until you shake them, right?
A lot of them have shake awake and different features now. Changing reticles, obviously, some are solar powered. Auto adjusting, different reticle sizes. I mean, the sky's the limit with a lot of these options that they're putting on these things nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely crazy. The when the optic option for bugs, say bug. So the issues that I had for bug was exactly aiming, right? Some of my sights, under 10 yards it wasn't too bad. You get beyond 10 yards, getting in like 15 yards and so forth. Now things get a little spicy, right? I have to take my time and so forth. Putting an optic on it, that would be night and day type of stuff.
That's a great analogy for the bug guns.
Yeah.
That'd be like leveling your floor with a little torpedo level.
Yeah.
Or taking, a big 8-foot level and, leveling your floor.
Right.
Or putting a little laser level all the way across your floor and actually doing the same concept.
Yeah.
So you're doing the same concept with your bug guns now is actually doing an optic or using a little torpedo level to shoot all the way across the room.
Right.
So, I mean, in all reality, it's going to be much easier on a bug gun. You actually might enjoy it a little bit more and actually might push people to shoot bug with an optic on it and have its own division.
The one thing that you didn't like about bug, what would that be?
6 rounds.
So
that was probably the hardest thing to get over, and actually, realizing that, I can't shoot myself out of a situation.
Yeah.
I have to take my time.
Yeah.
And actually pick up my sights and get a very good sight picture to actually squeeze a round off.
Putting optics on it would change that.
Would definitely help that out.
So now you no longer have that, but you still have the 6 rounds.
Still have the 6 rounds, which, it's its own game. I mean, look at the real revolver guys. They only got 6 rounds. They got to make theirs, but they don't even get an optic. I mean, John's actually pushing for, an optic revolver, which I think would be pretty awesome.
Well, this would definitely fall into one of those categories, right?
Yeah, another subcategory.
Yeah, but a revolver versus a semi with a couple magazines.
If it's bug versus revolver, I mean,
that's a severe handicap.
It's a severe handicap even for the revolver.
Yeah.
Because your reloads are much faster in a semi-auto. I mean, unless you're Jerry Michalik,
right?
I mean, it's just a machine. Then, it's going to be on the reload rather than the shooter itself.
Yeah. So, you prefer? Where do you think that the optic would make the biggest impact? Bug or CCP?
I think it's CCP, obviously, because you got the round count now. So lighter CCP guns, they're pretty much at that point where they're just a little bit smaller than an ESP gun.
Yeah.
But you have the same rules and categories. So, I mean, it's really close. I think the ESP guns are going to, have a little bit of an advantage over the CCP guns, just in size, barrel length, some of those other small features.
Yeah.
But honestly, you put a dot on them, they're going to be close, just like the ESP guns and the CCP guns.
So now it just separates those that have a beautiful grip and those that have a beautiful grip some of the time.
Well, kinda-ish.
Kinda-ish.
I mean, rather than having a full-size grip, do I love the grip on my EXG? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Do I love the staccato grip a whole lot more? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, comparing apples to watermelons.
So, big advantage from the full size versus CCP then.
I like full size. I love the full size gun.
Yeah.
I love the extra weight. I think they shoot a little bit flatter. The bull barrels and the staccatos and all that, they shoot absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, you're, like I said, it's pretty much comparing apples to oranges, but
Yeah.
at the same time, do I love shooting them both? Yeah, it's just a different ride. You don't jump in the same race car. You can't compare them. It's just a whole different deal. Could you shoot them fast? Yeah, you can.
Right.
But I mean, do some of the CCP guys that are top-notch guys shoot just as fast or close to it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're splitting hairs at that point, but
Sure.
I think overall, if it was me, I just love the feel of ESP gun.
So I definitely see another video coming up in the future here.
We always see other videos and more rabbit holes. Hopefully the viewers like the rabbit holes that we enjoy going down.
Right. So the IDP rules as far as optics are concerned, well, they have two different types of optics, right? Passive and active, right? So you either have the optic itself or a laser,
yeah.
right? So those are the two. As long as it fits in the box flush.
Fits the chips.
And the only difference would be the weight.
Correct.
Right. So 48 ounces for the full size. But other than that, as long as it fits the box, right? You go for it. Right?
Yeah. I mean, and for the most part, with those weight requirements, you could pretty much use just about anything.
Well, CCP now you're going to guns that are a lot different, right? So now you go to hybrids that are different, made out of different materials.
Yeah,
right?
you could go aluminum frame, steel frame.
Yeah.
Polymers. I mean,
because I think
just about anything.
I'm like at 0.1 of an ounce away from.
Well, you are shooting a tank. So here we are doing a quick nitty-gritty on some optics and optic options for different style guns. We're doing a little bit deep in-depth on the XG Legion P365. This particular firearm has the EPS carry. The 365 line is automatically cut for most of them if they do have a RDS cut. The EPS carry 407K, 507K, and a couple other options are actually available for this particular pistol. This is currently my CCP gun that we've been shooting for CCP for a little bit. I do like putting the EPS carry. It is a closed emitter, as you can see. The emitter is inside the optic itself, where something like the SRO or the RMR is open emitter. Great little carry piece. You get all your barrel butt lint pretty easily with just wiping off with a quick little cloth. Hopefully IDPA will maybe start changing some ruling and do different divisions with carry optics, being that a lot of the optics out there nowadays, people are carrying on a day-to-day basis. Me personally, I like the EPS carry on small little guns like this. Couldn't say enough good things about them, and hopefully you'll enjoy them as well.
The old school grandfather din.
Yeah, that
okay.
is.
All right.
Might want to step up to this century.
But like you said, it fits the box, right?
It does after shaving some base plates. And
okay, all right.
But to be fair, I ended up having to do the same thing with the 365.
So,
and
yeah.
There's a lot of guys out there that are having to modify base plates to make their gun fit, and boxes.
Oh man! So definitely, we're going to have to do a comparison study of some sort.
Yeah, I'd be curious on what kind of rabbit hole we're going to go down this time.
Okay, so you guys are going to have to look forward to that in May. But any tips on how to get started with shooting optics?
I mean, most people that end up shooting in the gun community have friends, and that's what's great about it. Guarantee one of your friends is going to have a gun.
Just go out there and just try it.
And say, hey, I haven't shot an optic gun. I guarantee, even if someone came up to me and I was running an optic gun, and we're hanging out for a minute and having a great conversation.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I've never shot an optic gun. Be like, hey, come on over, check this out, go for it.
Yeah.
Meeting new people in the community and kind of checking out what they have.
Yeah.
Shooting them. Like I said, I guarantee if you had a great conversation with someone that is reciprocating, asked them, I guarantee most people in the community and the gun community as a whole would be like, yeah, here, try it out, pop a couple rounds.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I mean, just going to a local gun shop, seeing what they have, comparing optics. I'd highly recommend when you're looking at optics, and you're kind of saying, oh, this versus that, look at optics side by side. You can see the clarity of the glass in different optics. Your eyes might like this one a little bit better. I've noticed last time I did that side by side, the Vortex optic, the clarity of the glass versus the Holosun was actually a lot more clear.
Yeah.
So I definitely highly recommend looking at different optics side by side at the same time.
It's mandatory, I would have to say.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because
they're not cheap.
No.
So
definitely not.
You better make damn sure you know what optic you're picking.
Right? What you want. Because, like I said, it goes into that buy once, cry once.
Right. So I recommend you take a look at Joe Bodden. He did this video on his putting an optic on his bug gun. I think that's a fantastic idea. CCP would probably be my next step.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. Oh yeah, don't you think?
I've been telling you for a while that you need to jump up in that 365 game.
Well, for the spirit of IDPA, to actually see a gun that you actually carry, right, concealed carry, and be able to use that, which I do now, right? I use it's just the iron sights.
Yeah,
I think I can actually climb up into at least the top 20, right?
Absolutely.
Which is a thing for us, right?
It always is. It's kind of like the badge of honor, as soon as you get into that realm.
Well, there you have it. Take a look. Don't just take our word for it. Just go out there and do your own homework and see what you guys can find. But a special shout out to our channel membership. This is your support. Busy at work. Please consider being part of our shooting community, building relationships around safe gun practice and IDPA competition. My name is Paul G, and this is
Anthony the Viking Vega.
Please be safe, and we shall see you on the radio. Was that too much?
Not enough.